A man lies dead in a silent London house. No wounds, no weapon, no sign of a struggle. But written on the wall, one single word in blood. It's not a name, it's not a threat. It's a clue so terrifying that it will change everything Sherlock Holmes believes about crime. And tonight, you are about to witness the exact moment Sherlock Holmes proves he is not just clever, he is dangerous. The room is silent, too silent. Inspector Lestrade stands stiff, his face pale, staring at the corpse of Enoch Drebber, a man stretched lifeless on the floor of a deserted house in Lauriston Gardens. There's no blood on the body, no bruises, no indication of violence at all, yet he is undeniably, irreversibly dead. Dr. Watson, ever the observer, watches carefully as Sherlock Holmes steps forward. His eyes are sharp, his movements precise and deliberate. Holmes doesn't rush. He kneels beside the body, but not like a policeman investigating a crime. He's like a scientist confronting an unsolved equation. Poison, Lestrade mutters, breaking the silence. Holmes doesn't answer. Instead, he gently lifts the dead man's hand. He examines the fingernails, the texture of the skin, the faint purplish tinge of the lips. He studies the almost imperceptible tension frozen into the man's face. And then a small, almost unnerving smile plays on Holmes's lips. It's not a smile of amusement. It's a smile of absolute certainty. He rises slowly, his gaze shifting away from the body, past the stunned faces of the police, and fixes on the far wall. There, scrawled in dark red letters, is a single word, Roch Lestrade. Scoffs a brief moment of pride in his voice. Troch. It's German for revenge, he announces to the room. A political assassination, no doubt. Holmes almost laughs. No, Inspector, he replies, his voice calm and steady. That is precisely what they want you to think. The inspectors freeze, their confidence evaporating. Holmes continues, his tone patient, as if explaining a simple puzzle to a child. The word was never finished. He points to the trailing end of the final letter. It's not revenge. It's not a message. It's a deliberate, calculated distraction. The killer wanted the police to chase a false meaning, to get lost in a web of complex theories, instead of simply seeing the truth right in front of them. Watson watches in disbelief. How could a single, unfinished word reveal so much about the killer's intent? But for Holmes, it was just the beginning. He steps closer to the wall, his eyes scanning the bloody inscription. He measures the height of the letters from the floor, the spacing between them, the uneven pressure of the strokes. This was written by a man, Holmes declares, tall, strong, and remarkably calm. The air in the room feels colder, heavier. Each deduction adds another layer to the chilling portrait of the murderer. Suddenly, Holmes turns back to the corpse. He leans in again, this time focusing on the victim's finger. He points to a pale, almost invisible mark on the skin. A ring had once been there, but it's gone. He was married, Holmes murmurs, almost to himself. Lestrade shakes his head, frustrated. Impossible. No ring was found anywhere on the premises. We searched. Holmes nods slowly. Exactly. He says, the word hanging in the air. The ring wasn't stolen in a simple act of robbery. It was taken purposefully. It was a message not meant for the dead man, but for someone still alive, someone who would understand its significance. Watson feels a shiver run down his spine. He finally understands. This wasn't a simple murder. This was a warning. A grim, theatrical statement. Holmes, now in his element, walks to the window. He sniffs the air, a faint, almost imperceptible scent catching his attention. He examines the dust on the windowsill, the faint scuffs on the floorboards nearby. He notes the footprints outside. No sign of forced entry, he announces. The victim let his killer inside. The room goes utterly quiet. The image is terrifyingly clear. Holmes begins to reconstruct the crime, his voice painting a vivid picture for the stunned onlookers to meeting, perhaps under the pretense of business, a confrontation, a choice. Holmes imagines two pills being presented. One harmless, one filled with a swift, untraceable poison, a deadly game of chance forced upon the victim. The man, Holmes says with cold finality, chose poorly. Watson's blood runs cold. This wasn't an act of rage. It wasn't chaos. This was a methodical, ritualistic execution. Lestrade, trying to regain some control, challenges Holmes. If you're so certain, then tell us when did he die? Holmes kneels one last time. He places a hand on the body, judging its temperature, the degree of rigor mortis. He's not a detective anymore. He's a human barometer. About 6 hours ago, he states. Lestrade protests immediately, but the body was discovered barely an hour ago. Holmes looks up, and for a moment his eyes are as sharp and cold as knives. Which means, he says quietly, letting the devastating implication sink in, the murderer has already escaped London. The weight of that statement crushes the room. The police are already hours behind, chasing a ghost. As the official investigation spirals into confusion, Holmes turns to Watson. Come with me. They step out of the grim house and into the foggy London night. As they walk, Watson finally finds his voice. Holmes, how can you possibly know all of this? The ring, the 2 pills. It's extraordinary. Holmes begins to explain, methodically, patiently. He breaks down every observation, every tiny detail, every logical step that led to his astonishing conclusions. There were no guesses. There were no assumptions. It was pure, cold deduction. Watson realizes the profound truth about his new friend. Sherlock Holmes doesn't just solve crimes. He dissects reality, peeling back its layers to reveal the hidden mechanics beneath, and the police bay are merely chasing shadows in the fog. As they walk down the dark, cobbled street, Holmes suddenly stops. A hansom cab rattles past them. In the gloom, a stranger watches from the shadows of a nearby doorway before melting back into the darkness. Holmes smiles faintly, a flicker of excitement in his eyes. The game, he whispers, his voice filled with anticipation, has already begun, and somewhere out there in the sprawling, indifferent city of London, the killer waits, confident he is untouchable. If you want to see how Sherlock Holmes hunts a killer across the city, how he turns London itself into a weapon, subscribe now, because this mystery is only getting darker. Thanks for watching.